Hey guys, Romany Reaper here. So I've just got done watching Fountain of Youth on Apple TV Plus. This is the newest film directed by Guy Ritchie. The man is like a machine at this point. He is putting out films like clockwork, and just to put into perspective, this is his sixth film of the 2020s. That's more films than there have been years this decade. He's got a seventh coming up in the form of In the Grey. And of course, he's also done the TV show version of The Gentleman, which is getting a second season. Yeah, at this point, I am not convinced he has had any sleep these past 5 years. But this one did look kind of interesting. This looked to be sort of his take on an old school adventure movie in the vein of something like Indiana Jones. And so I was hoping that this would deliver a reliably fun time. But does the film deliver an entertaining old school adventure film? Let's find out. So the film follows Luke Perdue, an adventurer who travels the world seeking ancient artifacts, also makes some enemies along the way. For his latest adventure, Luke has been hired by billionaire Owen Carver to find the mythical Fountain of Youth, which Carver hopes to use to cure his terminal liver cancer. And so, Luke gathers his old crew and brings his estranged sister Charlotte along for the ride as he travels the world to find the location of the fountain before its gifts can fall into the wrong hands. So, obviously, yes, Guy Ritchie as a director does have a very distinctive style, from his cheeky humour to energetic camera flourishes. So there's something interesting about seeing him bring that to an adventure film, and the end results shouldn't be too far off any Guy Ritchie does Indiana Jones images you may have in your mind. Is it as good as Indiana Jones? No, and it's certainly not something that'll leave too much of a lasting impression, but in the moment, it is an entertaining enough adventure that you should walk away from feeling reasonably satisfied. Now, obviously, being an adventure film, all the sort of classic staples are there. You've got this globe-trotting adventure, going from place to place, finding ancient artifacts, uncovering clues that'll lead to the big MacGuffin. In this case, the Fountain of Youth. There's also secret passageways and traps. And I think if you've seen at least one Indiana Jones film, you'll likely know what to expect. And all of that trademark stuff is done reliably well here. I think what helps the film is the decision to shoot on location. It adds to a sense of immersion in the adventure. As we go from all these locations like Bangkok, London, Vienna, and Cairo, it helps the whole thing feel real and tangible. Something you don't get from the sort of green screens that these, globe-trotting streaming movies are shot on. Red notice! Sorry, I had a cough there. And what I think really helps this is the film has a fairly, breezy pace. It zips along nicely, helped by, the distinctive energy that comes from Ritchie's trademark flourishes. There's these elegant camera moves that flow through the action through these various assorted chases and fist fights and shootouts. Just enough action that you can reasonably get your adventure movie thrills. A particularly great showy moment early on is a bit where Luke escapes some baddies on a train, and it shows this escape in one continuous shot. It's very, very well done. There's plenty of other cool stuff in here, like dolly zooms and quick pans, and even some upside down shots that are just really, really well done. And it is basically just Guy Ritchie aura farming, admittedly, but it does, bring some level of style and energy to the proceedings. Now, obviously, story-wise, it's pretty familiar stuff. You've got this, glory-seeking adventurer, always after prizes, and you've got this sibling rivalry of the one who very much wants to settle down and have a family, at the sort of history between them. I think you can tell exactly how things are going to go based on my descriptions here. But as Luke Perdue would say, the journey is more rewarding than the prize itself, and to his credit, the journey is fairly engaging and entertaining to watch. And this is helped thanks to a very likable set of performances. Obviously, leading the proceedings is John Krasinski as Luke, of course, Mr. Emily Blunt, and yeah, he's great. He's charming. He's charismatic. He's funny. He's exactly the dashing adventurer that you can get behind. He's a sort of likable presence that the audience can get behind, but he's also sort of snarky and jokey enough that you can probably buy into why he has made so many enemies on his many adventures. He is a very, very entertaining presence. And he plays off very well with Natalie Portman as Charlotte. Their little sibling bickering is great and does lead to some great laughs. Obviously, Luke is the more daring, adventurous one, while, Charlotte has become more content for, safety and a more simple life as, she tries to get custody of her son. And the two do put in very likable performances that do allow you to get invested in their relationship. And, rounding things out, you've got Donald Gleeson as Owen Carver. He is actually quite funny, and there are some good laughs to be had in his little scenes with Charlotte's son, Thomas. I gotta admit, that was an unexpected highlight. We also have Aisha Gonzalez as a rival of Luke's, who's, very much always on his tail. Very much after the same thing he's after. Describing herself as the Hand of Mercy. We also have Laz Alonso, aka Mother's Milk, as Murph, who's part of Luke's adventure crew. He doesn't exactly have a whole lot to do, but he does have at least a decent amount of screen time, and he is a likable presence. I like him in The Boys, and I like him here as well. And we also have Stanley Tucci. Okay, Conclave heads, you're not prepared for where he shows up. Admittedly, it is a bit of a waste of Tucci's talents. It is a very small role, but it was nice seeing him here regardless. Now, for all the fun I had with all this on-location stuff, every time the film is shot in front of a green screen, it really sticks out. There's some definitely very obvious soundstage shots here. And, by the time we get to the climactic act, it's fairly predictable. There's a big twist that you will likely have already guessed long before the film actually reaches that point. And there's some, obviously, resolutions that are obvious but satisfying. But there is plenty of fun to be had in seeing the central MacGuffin's, gifts come to life. And it is quite a striking look and concept, even if some of the effects don't look great. And hey, it rounds off on the most unexpected Oasis needle drop of the whole year, so it's worth it. Overall, Fountain of Youth may not live up to the classic adventure movies that it, so clearly wears the influence of on its sleeve, and it's definitely not the best showing of Ritchie's abilities as a director, but on its own terms, it does deliver a reliably entertaining time that should leave you feeling reasonably happy. Out of 10, Fountain of Youth gets a 6. So yeah, let me know down in the comments. Have you seen Fountain of Youth? What did you think of it? What's your favourite adventure film? What's your favourite Guy Ritchie film? And do you think he should get some sleep? Because, the man is a machine. Let me know all that down in the comments. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're new. And don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload.